Day 40, Deuteronomy 5 through 8. Love the Lord your God. 5. The Ten Commandments. 6. Love the Lord your God. 7. Driving out the nations. 8. Do not forget the Lord. Chapter 7. The destruction of enemies furnishes an illustration of Christian conflict. We are commanded not to let sin reign, not to allow or accept it, but to hate it and strive against it. God has promised it shall not have dominion over us. Romans chapter 6, verse 12 and 14.
Chapter 5. Moses called to all Israel and said to them, Hear, Israel, the statutes and the ordinances which I speak in your ears this day, that you may learn them, and observe to do them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. The Lord didn't make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us who are all of us here alive this day. The Lord spoke with you face to face on the mountain, out of the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time, to show you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid because of the fire, and didn't go up onto the mountain. Saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make an engraved image for yourself, nor any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, and on the third and on the fourth generation of those who hate me, and showing loving kindness to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath day, to keep it holy, as the Lord your God commanded you. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your donkey, nor any of your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. You shall remember that you were a servant in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out of there by a mighty hand, and by an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God commanded you, that your days may be long, and that it may go well with you in the land which the Lord your God gives you. You shall not murder, neither shall you commit adultery, neither shall you steal, neither shall you give false testimony against your neighbor, neither shall you covet your neighbor's wife, neither shall you desire your neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant or his maidservant, his ox or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. These words the Lord spoke to all your assembly on the mountain, out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness, with a great voice, and he added no more. He wrote them on 2 tables of stone and gave them to me. It happened, when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, while the mountain was burning with fire, that you came near to me, even all the heads of your tribes and your elders, and you said, Behold, the Lord our God has shown us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that God does speak with man, and he lives. Now therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of the Lord our God any more, then we shall die. For who is there of all flesh that has heard the voice of the living God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as we have and lived? Go near, and hear all that the Lord our God shall say, and speak to us all that the Lord our God shall speak to you, and we will hear it, and do it. The Lord heard the voice of your words, when you spoke to me, and the Lord said to me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people which they have spoken to you. They have said well all that they have spoken. Oh, that there were such a heart in them, that they would fear me, and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them, and with their children forever. Go tell them, return to your tents. But as for you, you stand here by me, and I will speak to you all the commandment, and the statutes, and the ordinances, which you shall teach them, that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess it. You shall observe to do therefore as the Lord your God has commanded you. You shall not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. You shall walk in all the way which the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which you shall possess. Chapter 6. Now this is the commandment, the statutes and the ordinances, which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you go over to possess it, that you might fear the Lord your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son, and your son's son, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has promised to you, in a land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. These words which I command you this day shall be on your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them for a sign on your hand, and they shall be for symbols between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorpost of your house, and on your gates. It shall be, when the Lord your God shall bring you into the land which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give you great and good cities, which you didn't build, and houses full of good things, which you didn't fill, and cisterns dug out, which you didn't dig, vineyards and olive trees, which you didn't plant, and you shall eat and be full. Then beware lest you forget the Lord, who brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall fear the Lord your God, and him shall you serve, and shall swear by his name. You shall not go after other gods, of the people who are round about you, for the Lord your God in the midst of you is a jealous God, lest the anger of the Lord your God be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt the Lord your God, as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God, and his testimonies, and his statutes which he has commanded you. You shall do that which is right and good in the sight of the Lord, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the good land which the Lord swore to your fathers, to thrust out all your enemies from before you, as the Lord has spoken. When your sons ask you in time to come, saying, What mean the testimonies and the statutes and the ordinances which the Lord our God has commanded you? Then you shall tell your son, We were Pharaoh's bondservants in Egypt, and the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And the Lord showed signs and wonders, great and awesome, on Egypt, on Pharaoh, and on all his house before our eyes. And he brought us out from there, that he might bring us in, to give us the land which he swore to our fathers. The Lord commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as at this day. It shall be righteousness to us, if we observe to do all this commandment before the Lord our God, as he has commanded us. Chapter 7. When the Lord your God shall bring you into the land where you go to possess it, and shall cast out many nations before you, the Hittite, and the Girgashite, and the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, 7 nations, greater and mightier than you. And when the Lord your God shall deliver them up before you, and you shall strike them, then you shall utterly destroy them. You shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy to them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give to his son, nor his daughter shall you take to your son, for he will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and he will destroy you quickly. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall break down their altars, and dash in pieces their pillars, and hew down their asherim, and burn their engraved images with fire. For you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for his own possession, above all the peoples who are on the face of the earth. The Lord didn't set his love on you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all peoples. But because the Lord loves you, and because he would keep the oath which he swore to your fathers, has the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord your God, he is God, the faithful God who keeps covenant and loving kindness with them who love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations, and repays those who hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack to him who hates him, he will repay him to his face. You shall therefore keep the commandment and the statutes and the ordinances, which I command you this day, to do them. It shall happen, because you listen to these ordinances and keep them and do them, that the Lord your God will keep with you the covenant and the loving kindness which he swore to your fathers, and he will love you, and bless you, and multiply you. He will also bless the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your ground, your grain, and your new wine, and your oil, the increase of your cattle, and the young of your flock, in the land which he swore to your fathers to give you. You shall be blessed above all peoples. There shall not be male or female barren among you, or among your cattle. The Lord will take away from you all sickness, and none of the evil diseases of Egypt which you know will he put on you, but will lay them on all those who hate you. You shall consume all the peoples whom the Lord your God shall deliver to you. Your eyes shall not pity them, neither shall you serve their gods, for that will be a snare to you. If you shall say in your heart, These nations are more than I, how can I dispossess them? You shall not be afraid of them. You shall well remember what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all Egypt, the great trials which your eyes saw, and the signs and the wonders, and the mighty hand and the outstretched arm, by which the Lord your God brought you out. So shall the Lord your God do to all the peoples of whom you are afraid. Moreover, the Lord your God will send the hornet among them, until those who are left hide themselves, and perish from before you. You shall not be scared of them, for the Lord your God is in the midst of you, a great and awesome God. The Lord your God will cast out those nations before you little by little. You may not consume them at once, lest the animals of the field increase on you. But the Lord your God will deliver them up before you, and will confuse them with a great confusion until they be destroyed. He will deliver their kings into your hand, and you shall make their name to perish from under the sky. There shall no man be able to stand before you until you have destroyed them. The engraved images of their gods you shall burn with fire. You shall not covet the silver, or the gold that is on them, nor take it to yourself, lest you be snared with it, for it is an abomination to the Lord your God. You shall not bring an abomination into your house, and become a devoted thing like it. You shall utterly detest it, and you shall utterly abhor it, for it is a devoted thing. Chapter 8. All the commandment which I command you this day shall you observe to do, that you may live, and multiply, and go in and possess the land which the Lord swore to your fathers. You shall remember all the way which the Lord your God has led you these 40 years in the wilderness, that he might humble you, to prove you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. He humbled you, and allowed you to hunger, and fed you with manna which you didn't know, neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread only, but by everything that proceeds out of the mouth of the Lord does man live. Your clothing did not grow old on you, neither did your foot swell these 40 years. You shall consider in your heart that as a man chastens his son, so the Lord your God chastens you. You shall keep the commandments of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, and to fear him. For the Lord your God brings you into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of springs, and springs flowing forth in valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey, a land in which you shall eat bread without scarceness, you shall not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you may dig copper. You shall eat and be full, and you shall bless the Lord your God for the good land which he has given you. Beware lest you forget the Lord your God, in not keeping his commandments, and his ordinances, and his statutes, which I command you this day, lest, when you have eaten and are full, and have built good houses and lived in them, and when your herds and your flocks multiply, and your silver and your gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, then your heart be lifted up, and you forget the Lord your God, who brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, who led you through the great and terrible wilderness, in which there were fiery serpents and scorpions, and thirsty ground where there was no water, who brought you forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers didn't know, that he might humble you, and that he might prove you, to do you good at your latter end. And lest you say in your heart, My power and the might of my hand has gotten me this wealth. But you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he swore to your fathers, as at this day. It shall be, if you shall forget the Lord your God, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. As the nations that the Lord makes to perish before you, so shall you perish, because you wouldn't listen to the voice of the Lord your God.